Welcome to the Coffee Corner. I'm Father Cooper, so let's get going. Right, I have my cup of coffee. Hopefully you have one too. Right, it's back to school season, right? So I have my backpack, we're all ready to go to school. With that, let's learn about the thing that we have. I found these, the diocese actually found them, and it's praying with your 5 fingers. And I thought it was kind of interesting because I've always thought of my 5 fingers as praying the rosary, right? You have 10 fingers, decade of the rosary, great. It was interesting to read this, and I have lots of copies of these, so if you want a copy of these, please stop by the parish office. We'll give them to you. They're just a wonderful example of praying with your fingers for different people, and so I just want to go through them with you, and then if you would like one to have one to put in your fridge or whatnot, stop by the parish office and I'll get you one. So the first praying with your hand, your fingers. The first one is your thumb. Your thumb is your closest finger. I'm going like this, but I meant to go like this. Your thumb is the closest finger to you, and so really kind of think about that. It's the closest one. So pray for the people that are closest to you, siblings, mom and dad, friends. Those your coworkers who you work with all the time. So for me, Father Matthew, my parents. Melissa, Linda, Mr. Bellinger, all those wonderful people that work here in the parish office. So those are all people we can pray for. And so think of the people that are closest to you and your own family members. The second one is your index finger, and so think about that. It's one we point with. We give directions, and we end up pointing with that. And so those are those who teach you. So kind of think of that as like, it's your conducting finger, for music or whatnot. Think of who are the people that teach you. They might not always be a school teacher directly, but it might be also those who teach you in faith. It could also be your parents again. But your teachers, those who teach. And so Pope Francis actually has a little line. It says, they always need the support and wisdom to show direction to others. Always keep them in your prayer. That's really quite beautiful, to keep them in your prayer, that sweet wisdom that they give, that they may have the wisdom from God to give them to you. Another one is the middle finger, the tallest of them all. And so really kind of think of that. That's the tall finger. It's a reminder to pray for those who govern us, those who are above us in authority. So not necessarily the political figures, that whether it's the president, the governor, the local senators, and congressmen, whatnot, but also our local government officials as well. So like our sheriff, those who in law enforcement, but also those like the principal or your teacher or for me, it'd be the bishop. And so praying for the bishop and praying for Father Matthew, those are my direct authority figures above me. And I don't really think of them as authority figures sometimes, but really they are above me. They have, in some regards, a governance over me in some regards. And so to pray for them, to remember to pray for them. So it's kind of the tall finger. Think of those who are above you in some sort of way. Maybe you're in elementary or you're in high school or whatnot, and you're looking up towards those kids that are ahead of you. So if you're a freshman, you're looking to the seniors. Pray for the senior class. That's a wonderful thing to do. So turn to those prayers, and not necessarily in the authority figures, but you can also put them into those people who are above you in age too, just in general. The fourth finger, I find it's kind of interesting. It's our ring finger, right? The ring finger. And it's also, out of all the fingers, it's the weakest one of them all, the weak finger. And so we should remember out of the weak one. It's interesting because that's on your left hand. If you go to weddings, you'll see them. They'll place a ring on this finger. And so that finger in general, we should pray for those who are weak, those who are sick, those who are suffering. And not always pray for those who are suffering, that are sick, but those who also are praying for those who have problems just in general. It could be they might suffer from depression or anxiety. They might have just whatever, suicidal thoughts even. Those you pray for any of those people that have some sort of sickness that they're trying to overcome. And we all have something that we're weak with. There's a hymn that I love to pray, and I can't think of it right now off the top of my head, but it says in the line, it says, we all have secret fears we must face. That's our weakness. So there we go. We can pray for those. And so we really think about that. We all have a secret fear that we have to face. Well, if we all have a secret fear that we have to face, we all know that everyone is weak in some sort of regard. And when we are weak, we become strong, and Christ tells us that. So to really kind of remember that when we become weak, because we recognize that we need someone above us being God himself. The final finger, which is the smallest of them all, and it's kind of interesting to think about that, the smallest finger, the pinky, is we are reminded to pray for ourselves. And so once we start praying for others, those who are the closest to us, those who are who teach us, those who govern us in some sort of way, not necessarily always political figures, but it could be those who are directly above us, maybe in the spiritual world. And then also praying for those who are sick. And once we realize, we start praying for all those people we recognize our own needs, our needs that we need from God, that we realize that we need our Savior to get us through. And to thank him for the many gifts that we have, and everything is a wonderful gift. So as we go back to school, praying with your fingers, and remember those are the people that we can pray for. And then also, once we realize the needs of others, we start praying for those who are around us. We start to recognize our own needs that we want to get through. So as we go back to school, I just charge you to start praying for others that are around you, those who are closest to you, those who teach you, those who are have authority over you in some sort of way, those who are weak and sick and suffering, and then also don't forget to pray for yourself. And it's always a good thing to do. So hopefully you have a wonderful going back to school to all the schools that are reopening here soon, or for the new 2021 school year. I wish you all the best as this coming year comes to a start. For those who are at St. Mary's, congratulations on 2 weeks down, a bunch more weeks to go. So if you have any ideas for coffee corners or at all for talks and whatnot, shoot us a link below, and I'll gladly take any advice on it. One of my biggest struggles, my weak link, and this is coming up with ideas. So if you have an idea on the faith or something that you'd like to be discussed, let me know. I'd gladly take your advice and take things. So hopefully you enjoy your cup of coffee, your afternoon cup of coffee, your morning cup of joe, or whatever. Have a great day, and God bless and love you all. Bye.